My girlfriend wanted a break to see if we miss each other. I took it as a chance to level up my life. When she finally texted, "I miss you," I replied, "Sorry, who is this?" My girlfriend of 4 years, Amelia, broke up with me 3 months ago. She didn't have the courage to call it a breakup, of course. She called it a break. It was a classic, cowardly maneuver, designed to keep me on the hook as her emotional safety net while she explored other options. We were sitting in my apartment, the one we'd shared for the last 2 years. She had been distant for weeks, and I knew something was coming. She finally sat me down, her expression a careful mix of sorrow and resolve. "Mark," she began, "I feel like we're stuck in a routine. I love you, but I've lost perspective. I think we need to take a break, just some time apart to see if we really miss each other. No contact. Let's just give it a few months and see how we feel." I listened patiently. I heard the words she was saying, but I also understood the words she wasn't. A break is not a pause button. It's a soft launch for a breakup, a way for one person to leave a relationship with the option to return if their new venture fails. It's a coward's exit strategy. I didn't fight her. I didn't plead. Arguing would have been pointless. It would have made me look weak and desperate, the very thing she was probably already thinking. So I just nodded, my face a mask of calm acceptance. "I understand," I said. "I respect your need for space." The relief on her face was immediate and obvious. She had expected a fight, tears, a scene. My quiet compliance made it easy for her. Too easy. She packed a bag that night, promising to arrange for movers to get the rest of her things later. As she was leaving, she gave me a sad little smile. "This is for the best," she said. "It will make us stronger." The door closed behind her, and a profound silence filled the apartment. I was hurt. Of course I was. For years is a long time. But underneath the hurt, a different feeling was starting to surface. A cold, pragmatic clarity. She had initiated a break to see if she would miss me. I decided, in that moment, to use the same time to see if I would miss her. More importantly, I decided to use the time to become a man she would desperately miss, and one who would no longer be available to her when she came crawling back. The first few days were the hardest. The apartment felt empty. My routine was shattered. But I refused to wallow in self-pity. I saw this not as an ending, but as an opportunity, a chance to reinvest in the most important asset I had, myself. I made a plan. It was simple and focused on action, not emotion. First, my health. In the comfort of our relationship, I had let myself go. I wasn't in terrible shape, but the gym had been replaced by nights on the sofa with takeout. That night, I reactivated my old gym membership online. Second, my career. I was a senior analyst at a financial firm. I was good at my job, reliable, but I had become comfortable. The word she had used as an insult. There was a major difficult project on the horizon, a full-scale data system migration that everyone else was avoiding like the plague. It was a career-making or career-breaking kind of project. The next morning, I walked into my boss's office and volunteered to lead it. Third, my environment. The apartment was full of her. Her books, her clothes, her art. It was a museum of a dead relationship. I spent that entire first weekend methodically packing every single thing she owned into boxes. I cleared the space to clear my head. 2 weeks into our break, I got the confirmation I knew was coming. A mutual friend posted a collection of photos from a weekend trip to a winery. And there, in the middle of a group shot, was Amelia. Her arm was around a guy named Greg, a flashy loud guy from her marketing firm she had always sworn was just a friend. They weren't standing like friends. They were standing like a new couple on their first weekend getaway. Any lingering shred of doubt I had about the nature of our break vanished. It was an audition, and I was not the part she was auditioning for. The knowledge didn't hurt me. It freed me. It solidified my resolve. I doubled down on my plan. The gym became my therapy. The project at work became my focus. I was not waiting for Amelia to come back. I was building a new life, a better life, on the ashes of the old one. She wanted a break to see if she missed me. I was going to give her a whole new man to miss. Update 1. The second month of the break was when the transformation really began to take shape. The initial fog of the breakup had lifted completely, replaced by a relentless, energizing focus. My new routine was no longer a conscious effort. It had become a way of life. The gym was paying off. The first few weeks had been a brutal slog, but now I was seeing real results. I was leaner, stronger, and I had more energy than I'd had in years. The physical change was having a mental effect as well. My confidence, which had been eroded by Amelia's subtle criticisms over the last year, was coming back in force. I started to feel like myself again, only better. At work, the data migration project was a beast, just as everyone had predicted. It was a maze of logistical nightmares and technical problems. But without the distraction of a dying relationship, I had the time and mental clarity to tackle it head-on. I was working long hours, but the work was engaging. I was solving complex problems, managing a small team, and for the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely challenged and respected. My boss, who had been cautiously optimistic about my volunteering, was now openly impressed. It was during this time that I met Sarah. She was a senior project manager from the tech division, assigned to my project to act as a liaison with the IT department. She was smart, direct, and had a wicked sense of humor. Our first few interactions were purely professional, often in late-night meetings trying to iron out some bug in the system. What struck me about Sarah was her attitude. There was no drama, no pretense. She was just incredibly competent and easy to talk to. We connected over our shared work ethic and a mutual love for terrible action movies from the 90s. It was a friendship born in the trenches of a difficult project built on mutual respect. One evening, after a particularly grueling 12-hour day, we were the last two people in the office. We had finally solved a problem that had been holding up the entire migration. We were both exhausted but exhilarated. "We did it," she said with a tired but triumphant smile. "We did it," I corrected her. "I couldn't have done it without your help." "Well," she said, packing up her bag. "A victory this big deserves a celebration. The first round is on me." We went to a quiet bar near the office. We talked for hours, but not about work. We talked about our lives, our families, our goals. It was the easiest, most natural conversation I had had with a woman in years. It was a conversation between two equals. A few days later, my boss called me into his office. He sat me down, a serious expression on his face. "Mark," he began, "I've been watching your work on the migration project. You took on an impossible task, and you are succeeding. You've shown leadership, initiative, and an incredible aptitude for problem solving. We've been looking to create a new senior lead position for the entire analytics division. The job is yours if you want it." It came with a new title, a bigger team, and a 30% pay raise. I accepted on the spot. I walked out of that office feeling like I was on top of the world. The man Amelia had left for being comfortable and broke had just become one of the youngest senior leads in the company. That night, feeling a surge of confidence, I called Sarah. I asked her out on a real date, not a post-work drink, but a proper dinner on a Saturday night. She said yes without hesitation. Meanwhile, I heard whispers about Amelia through the grapevine. Her whirlwind romance with Greg, the winery expert, was apparently not going as smoothly as her Instagram post suggested. A mutual friend told me that Greg was flashy and fun, but also flaky and noncommittal. Amelia, who craved security and validation, was apparently in a constant state of anxiety, trying to lock him down. Her test drive of a new life was proving to be a bumpy ride. It was a shame. Update 2. The third month of my supposed break was the month my new life solidified into a new reality. The man who had been unceremoniously put on pause by Amelia was gone, replaced by someone better, stronger, and happier. My relationship with Sarah grew from a first date into something real and meaningful. It was a relationship built on the foundation of our friendship, on shared values and mutual admiration. She respected my drive, and I respected hers. There were no games, no manipulations. We were just two adults building something together, honestly and openly. The promotion at work was a game changer. The new role was challenging, and the pay raise was significant. For the first time, I felt like I was not just doing a job, but building a real career. The comfortable life Amelia had sneered at was gone. With my life moving forward on all fronts, there was one last piece of old business to take care of. Amelia's stuff. The boxes I had packed 2 months ago were still stacked in my spare room. They were a physical reminder of a life I had left behind. I sent her a polite, simple text. "Hi, Amelia. I hope you're doing well. I still have the rest of your belongings. Please let me know where you'd like me to send them." I received no reply. I waited a week and sent another, slightly more direct text. "Amelia, I need to clear out my spare room. If I don't hear from you by the end of the week, I will be putting your things into a storage unit. Again, silence. It was clear she was either ignoring me or was too proud to admit she had nowhere to put her things. So I followed through. I rented the smallest available storage unit, paid for the first month, and moved all of her boxes into it. I then sent the key to the unit and the rental agreement to her parents' address via registered mail, which required a signature upon delivery. I knew she couldn't claim she never got it. The cord was now officially and logistically cut. Then, last Tuesday, exactly 3 months to the day since she had walked out my door, my phone buzzed. It was a text from a number I didn't have saved in my phone anymore. The message was 3 simple words. I miss you. I stared at the text. A year ago, those words would have sent my heart soaring. 6 months ago, they would have filled me with a confusing mix of hope and anger. But now, they just felt foreign, like a message from a stranger. I had to genuinely pause for a moment to be sure who it was from. Then it clicked. It was Amelia. Her grand experiment must have failed. Greg must have dumped her. The safety net she had so carefully left behind was now the one she was trying to grab onto. Sarah was with me when I got the text. She saw the confused look on my face. "What's up?" she asked. I showed her the phone. "It's my ex," I said. She read the message, then looked at me, a small, knowing smile on her face. She didn't look worried or jealous. She just looked at me with trust. "So," she said, "what are you going to do?" I looked at the message again. "I miss you." The audacity of it was almost impressive. She had left me, started dating someone else the next week, ignored my messages about her own property. And now, after 3 months of silence, she thought she could just reappear with 3 little words and expect me to come running. I thought about all the progress I had made. The gym, the promotion, the incredible new woman sitting next to me. The life I had now was a direct result of her leaving. She hadn't taken a break from me. She had given me a break from her. I started to type out my reply. It was honest, it was final, and it was, I felt, the perfect conclusion to her little test. I typed, "Sorry, who is this?" I hit send, and then I deleted the conversation and blocked the number for good. The explosion that was sure to follow was no longer my concern. Final update. I had intended for my last post to be the final word on the matter. Deleting and blocking her number felt like the end of the story. But when you detonate a bomb in someone's life, even a quiet, digital one, the shockwave is bound to circle back. About 10 minutes after I sent the "Who is this?" text, my phone started ringing. It was a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, another call, another number, then another. She was using her friends' phones, trying to break through my wall of silence. I didn't answer. Then came the emails, a flood of them, sent to my personal and even my work address. The tone of the emails shifted dramatically. The first one was confused and hurt. "It's me, Amelia." "What do you mean? Who is this?" "That's not funny, Mark." The next one was angry. "After everything we had, you're just going to pretend you don't know me? Our break is over. I'm ready to come home, and you're playing these childish games." The final one, sent late that night, was pure, desperate panic. "Okay, I get it. You're mad. I shouldn't have just texted. We need to talk. Greg and I are over. It was a mistake. I miss you. I miss our life. I made a huge, huge mistake. Please just call me." I read them all, not with anger, but with a kind of detached pity. She still didn't get it. She thought my actions were a punishment for her leaving. She didn't understand that my actions had nothing to do with her anymore. They had to do with me. I decided to give her one last, final closure. Not for her, but for me. I called her from a blocked number the next day. She picked up on the first ring. "Mark," she said, her voice full of a desperate, misplaced hope. "Hi, Amelia," I said, my voice calm and even. "I'm calling to ask you to stop contacting me. The emails, the calls, it all needs to stop. But our break is over," she said, her voice cracking. "I miss you. I'm ready to come back. We can fix this." "There is nothing to fix, Amelia," I said. The break was not a pause. It was an ending. "You wanted to see if you would miss me. The answer for you is apparently yes. I used that same time to see if I would miss you. The answer for me is no. I've moved on. I've built a new life." With that woman, she spat, her sadness instantly turning to venom. "You replaced me that fast?" "I started living my life that fast," I corrected her. "You were the one who was on a winery trip with Greg a week after you left. The only difference is, my new relationship started after ours was over. Yours started before." She was silent. There was nothing left to say. She had been so caught up in her own games that she had never considered I wouldn't play along. I truly hope you find what you're looking for, Amelia, I said, and for the first time, I actually meant it. But it's not with me. Goodbye. I hung up the phone before she could reply. That was the last time we ever spoke. It has been 6 months since that final call. My life with Sarah is wonderful. We just signed a lease on a new apartment together, a place that is ours from the start. My new role at work is challenging and rewarding. I am healthier, happier, and more successful than I have ever been. I heard through the grapevine that Amelia had to move back in with her parents. Greg, the flashy crypto guy, is long gone. She is, according to our mutual friend, struggling to get back on her feet. Her attempt to secure a better deal ended with her losing everything. Amelia's break was the greatest gift she ever gave me. It was a catalyst. It forced me to stop being comfortable and to start building the life I actually wanted. The ultimate revenge wasn't some grand, elaborate scheme. It was simply choosing to invest in myself instead of waiting for someone who had already proven she wasn't invested in me. She wanted to keep me as her plan B. I just chose to become my own plan A.